Did you know that all CNET programs are available to watch online, on demand, on cnet1.org? Meetings of CNET member organizations, including Bellefonte Borough, State College Borough, College, Ferguson, Half Moon, Harris, and Patton Township, along with the Bellefonte area and State College area school districts, the Center County Commissioners and Center Region Council of Governments, along with the State College Borough Water Authority, the University Area Joint Authority, and the Center Region Parks and Rec Authority, are all available to watch on your computer, tablet, or phone at your convenience. Simply visit cnet1.org and click the Watch Now button near the top of the screen. From here, you will find lists of programs related to CNET's various member organizations. There are also playlists for candidate interviews, community events, Penn State programs, SCLO library programs, and others. If you wish to watch a meeting of the Center County Board of Commissioners, click on the Center County Government playlist and choose the date of the meeting you wish to watch. Click on the title of the meeting and the video will be ready to play. Next to the video, you will see individual agenda items. Simply click on the agenda items and the video will skip to exactly that point in the meeting. To easily share the video, hover your mouse over the share icon on the bottom right corner of the video. From this feature, you can copy the embed code, copy the link, or share the video through email or social media. In addition to CNET's on-demand programs, you may also watch channels 7 and 98 live from cnet1.org. Simply select the channel you'd like to watch, and the video will run the channel's live television programming. For more information, contact CNET at cnet1.org. CNET has made it easier than ever to stay informed with your local government, school district, and community. We hope you enjoy watching our programs on cnet1.org.
Give thanks for literacy. Literacy means a life of increased safety, achievements, and community participation. For more than 50 years, Mid-State Literacy Council has empowered thousands of residents with literacy skills, improving their families' lives. Literacy builds our community. Help us celebrate literacy and support Mid-State Literacy Council by volunteering or donating to our Give Thanks for Literacy campaign, www.mid-stateliteracycouncil.org.
You're watching CNET, Center County's Government and Educational Access Network.
I'd like to call the Bellefonte Borough Council Business Meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Oh, one second.
We're gonna
do pledge or
swear in our new junior council member, Mr. Mayor.
Christian, if you would raise your right hand, please. I, Christian Larson, do solemnly pledge that I accept the position of Bellefonte Junior Council Person. I promise to attend monthly county meetings, observe Borough Council meeting rules, and actively participate in borough business. I understand that I cannot vote on any issue and I cannot attend executive decisions. Acknowledged and administered by Christian Larson and Mayor Buddy Johnson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Welcome, Christian. Thank you. All right, now I'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bernier.
Here.
Mr. Brackbill.
Here.
Miss Cleaton. Miss Dan.
Here.
Mr. Johnson. Miss McKean is excused. Miss Purnell.
Here.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Here.
Ms. Tosti Vasey, Mayor Johnson.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Nomination and election of officers. By agreement in early 2022, Borough Council officers agreed to reorganize annually. Mr. Johnson will step down as council president. Mr. Bernier will move from vice president to president. Ms. Dan will move from pro temp to vice president. I need a motion and a second to approve the officers as noted.
So moved.
Thank you.
That first was Tosti Vasey.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bernier.
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill. Yes. Ms. Cleaton.
Yes.
Ms. Dan.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. Purnell.
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick.
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey.
Yes.
Thank you. Now I would like a nomination for the election of a pro temp for the upcoming year. Do I have any nominations?
Here.
Right here.
Over here. I would like to nominate Deb Cleaton for pro temp.
Deb Cleaton. Anyone else?
I would, Kent.
Barbara?
I would like to nominate Doug Johnson, please.
Anyone else? Okay, since we have two nominations, we're going to have a vote, roll call vote, starting with the vote for Deb Cleaton for pro temp for next year.
Mr. Bernier.
Nay.
Mr. Brackbill. Ms. Cleaton.
Abstain?
You can't abstain.
I can't abstain?
No, you have to vote. This happened back in 2015. Oh, God. Gay Dunn, and we were told at the time that she was, by law, she had to make a vote.
Nay.
Ms. Dan. Mr. Johnson.
Nay.
I don't think we need to go any farther.
Okay.
We already have 5 nays. Do we want to finish it out?
No, that's okay. Go ahead, finish it out.
Ms. Purnell.
Nay.
Ms. Sedgwick.
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey.
You missed me.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you, Shauna.
It's okay.
Ms. McKean.
Yes.
Yes.
Doug Johnson has been nominated.
No, you have to take a vote on him as well.
Can I finish my sentence first?
You have to take a vote on him as well, is the way I read the rules. It is not an automatic.
Roll call vote for Mr. Johnson. Then we just do this.
Mr. Bernier.
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill. Ms. Cleaton.
Yes.
Ms. Dan.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. McKean.
No.
Ms. Purnell.
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick.
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey.
No.
7-2.
Mr. Johnson, you've been nominated as pro temp. You're welcome. Next item, additions to the council meeting agenda. I believe we have one here. Dawn, if you'd like to share that, or Randy, did you want to bring this up?
Speaking with Dawn here earlier,
I'd like to make the motion that we move the policy and procedure for consultant selection to old business.
Which is, does everybody have a copy of it? Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. So we'll discuss it at that time. Randy, anything else?
You need a second.
A motion and a second to...
You have a motion, you need a second.
I'll second.
Barbara?
I just wanted to, I'm sorry this got put out. This just got delivered to me today via email. This is to allow PennDOT to contract for construction, inspection, and services on our Streetscape Phase 2 project. That will probably start sometime later in the spring, early summer. You want me to go ahead on the roll call? Okay.
Please.
Okay, Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill? Yes. Ms. Cleaton?
Yes.
Ms. Dan? Yes. Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean? Yes. Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey?
Yes.
Okay, the next
No,
item.
I have another item to add to the
Okay.
agenda.
Go ahead, Joanne.
The for the good of the order item is missing from this agenda. I thought that this was supposed to be a part of every agenda, so I'm motioning to add this back into this meeting and to every other regular meeting going forward.
What's that now? What are we adding?
For the good of the order, at the end of the meeting, after we finish all of the business, we go around the room. It's not listed in here on the agenda. And I think it's a very nice thing to be done so that we can end up feel good at the end of the evening, if nothing else. Also get some additional ideas about what might need to be going on the agenda going forward.
Okay, so we need a second.
I'll second it. Purnell?
Roll call vote.
Mr. Bernier?
No.
Mr. Brackbill? No. Ms. Cleaton?
Yes.
Ms. Dan? No. Mr. Johnson?
No.
Ms. McKean?
No.
Ms. Purnell?
No.
Ms. Sedgwick?
No.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey?
Yes.
Okay. Any other additions to the council meeting agenda? If not, we'll move on to public comment. Public comment, anybody in the audience today like to speak? No deliberation, just come on up and you have 3 minutes. No? All right.
I have 2 items since we're not having it for good of the cause for public comment.
Okay, Joanne.
Okay, at the December 18th meeting, we held an executive session to deal with personnel issues. When I reviewed the minutes and the tape, I realized that we did not make that inadvertently didn't make that announcement. So I just wanted to put that up for this evening so we can get back into compliance, that we did have an executive session at the December 18th meeting.
I just want to add, Joanne, we can be in compliance by stating it at this meeting. We're not being incompliant by not having stated it prior to tonight's meeting.
Okay. And the second one is last summer, the council voted to suspend the Climate Action Plan and shut down the Environmental Advisory Board. At the time, several members of the council said they might reconsider the plan and create a do-over. Subsequent to this meeting, the PSU Sustainability Institute told Bellefonte that we could re-enter the LCAP program for free starting this coming fall. It would include an update on the greenhouse gas emissions within the borough. Brandy Robinson, one of the 2 directors of the LCAP program, has offered to come and speak to the council in an upcoming work session discuss how the new and different climate policy planning program works, which is different from when we last did it. I would like to have Ms. Robinson invited to one of our future work sessions to do a presentation on the new program and answer any questions that you all might have. And finally, just a real quickie, I noticed when I was reviewing the goals tracker that they may not have been fully updated for this year. So I would like just kind of going over it and see what needs to be updated rather than going into detail. Just please check it out. That's it.
Okay, moving on to communications. Mr. Stewart.
There's no formal written communications this evening.
Moving on then to consent agenda. All items listed in the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will not be acted upon by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless members of the council request specific items to be removed for separate action.
Mr. President, I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of December 18th, 2023.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Barbara. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Holderman.
Mr. Bernier.
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill.
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton.
Yes.
Ms. Dan.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. McKean.
Yes.
Ms. Purnell.
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick.
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to reports. Mayor Johnson.
I do not have a report this evening, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Office of Community Affairs. I see Gina out there. Gina?
Hi. Just a reminder of upcoming meetings. The Planning Commission will meet on Monday, January 8th at 5 p.m. in council chambers. And HARB will meet on Tuesday, January 9th at 8:30 a.m. in council chambers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, current and old business. We'll start with what was added tonight.
Sure. Just for everybody's, make sure we're all on the same page, this policy and procedure for consultant selection was added to tonight's agenda, and we're going to take that first under old business.
So we'll need a motion and a second to approve it.
So moved. Tosti-Vasey.
Thank you. Sean.
Second, Brackbill.
Thank you.
Mr. Bernier.
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill. Ms. Cleaton.
Yes.
Ms. Dan. Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. McKean.
Yes.
Ms. Purnell.
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick.
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey.
Yes.
Thank you. Next is the Center County Metropolitan Planning Organization, approved and recommendation to council to reappoint Mr. Doug Johnson. I need a motion and a second to reappoint Doug Johnson.
I'll make that motion. Cleaton.
Thank you, Deb.
I'll second the motion, Brackbill.
Thank you, Randy.
Individually.
Okay, next, we'll wait and do a vote at the end. The Airport Authority approved and recommendation to council to reappoint Doug Johnson to the Airport Authority. I need a motion and a second to reappoint Doug Johnson to the Airport Authority.
I'll make that motion. Dan.
Second, Sedgwick.
Thank you, Joanne. The Bellefonte Area Industrial Development Authority reappointment of Michael Scott and Matthew Hill. I need a motion and a second to approve Michael Scott and Matthew Hill to the Bellefonte Area Industrial Development Authority.
I'll make the motion to reappoint Matt Hill and to conditionally approve Michael Scott until the administration has heard from him regarding his interest to the reappointment, including submission of his volunteer application.
You haven't submitted that yet?
Yeah, it must be conditional.
Okay. Okay, next, the Bellefonte.
We need a second. Don't
I'll
we?
second that.
Dan seconded.
Next, the Bellefonte Borough Authority approved and recommendation to council to reappoint Joe Beagle and Michael Schmidt to the authority. I need a motion and a second to appoint those two gentlemen.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Joe Beagle and to conditionally approve Mike Schmidt until the administration has heard from him regarding his interest in the reappointment, including the submission of his volunteer application.
How did they make it onto
They're-
the agenda if they hadn't submitted?
The authority has recommended both of these people, so you have
So-
that to deal with.
So all this is doing is saying that we agree with them, but we need to get the person's approval.
I'll second the motion, Brockville.
Thank you. The Center County Library and Historical Museum Board approved a recommendation to council to reappoint Deb Cleaton. I need a motion and a second to reappoint Deb Cleaton.
I'll make the appointment for Deb Cleaton's.
I'll second.
Thank you. The Historic Architectural Review Board approved and recommendation to council to reappoint Megan Tooker and Maria Day to Harb. I need a motion and a second, please.
I'll make the motion, Clayton.
Thank you, Deb.
Second, Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Next is the Nittany Valley Joint Planning Commission approval and recommendation to council to reappoint Doug Johnson and Dave Lomison. I need a motion and a second to reappoint Mr. Johnson and Dave Lomison.
I'll
I make
that
a motion to reappoint Doug Johnson and conditionally approve Dave Lomison until the administration has heard from him whether he still has interest, including submission of his volunteer application.
So you got a motion and a second? So somebody over here.
I'll
Somebody
second it.
Thank you, Barbara. Next is the Planning Commission approved and recommendation to council to reappoint Robert Daniker to the Planning Commission. I need a motion and a second.
I'll make that motion. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
I'll second.
Who was the second?
Sean.
Barb and I.
Sean. Okay. Shauna.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so the next one is the Zoning Hearing Board approved and recommendation to council to reappoint William Luther to the Zoning Hearing Board. I need a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion for William
Second.
Luther. Johnson.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I have one question before we vote. On the appointment to the library board, the front page said that the Center County Library Board was for a 4-year term with the term expiring on 12/31/2026. If I count 4 years, I think it should be 12/27. Is that correct?
It's actually a 3-year term.
Oh, it's a 3-year, okay.
Alderman, we're going to have a roll call vote now.
Mr. Bernier.
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill.
Yes.
Miss Cleaton.
Yes.
Miss Dan.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Miss McKean.
Yes.
Miss Purnell.
Yes.
Miss Sedgwick.
Yes.
Miss Tosti Vasey.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item is new business. Under new business, there's a letter in your packet relative reappointing Stan Wallace to the sewage enforcement. I need a motion and a second to approve Stan Wallace as our sewage enforcement officer.
So moved. Tosti Vasey.
Thank you, Joanne.
Second, Dan.
Thank you, Joanne. Thank you.
Mr. Bernier.
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill. Yes. Miss Cleaton.
Yes.
Miss Dan. Yes. Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Miss McKean.
Yes.
Ms. Purnell,
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey.
Yes.
So just so I'm clear, we just made the motion and second and approved all these people to all of these authorities.
Yeah.
There was a couple on there that were conditional.
Correct.
Yes, they have to turn in a couple applications.
Can we, if you're going to discuss this, can we put a timeline to that? How long you wait for that?
I mean, has this typically been an issue that they don't submit their...
No, we either hear from them that they're not interested, or we get the application relatively soon. We can give you an update at the next meeting.
All right, thank you, Mr. Stewart. Okay, with that, that's the last item on our agenda tonight. So council meeting will be adjourned. I need a motion and a second for an adjournment.
So moved, Brackville.
Thank you, Randy.
Second, Tosti Vasey.
Thank you, Joanne. Meeting adjourned.
You're watching CNET, Center County's Government and Educational Access Network.
The Center Region Active Adult Center is a vibrant, inclusive, and happening location designed for active adults 55 years and over to be social and participate in new experiences while also staying close to home. We promote healthy aging through our many activities and health forums, as well as lifelong learning through classes and social interaction that suit almost any lifestyle. Whether you prefer line dancing followed by a walk or a game of bridge and a meal, the center is sure to have something for you. Visit crpr.org for more info.
We are the Community Diversity Group. Our mission is to foster an inclusive and interactive community which attracts and retains a pool of potential employees and residents from underrepresented groups. We accomplish this in many ways, including sponsoring events like the Community Resource Fair, publishing a monthly resource flyer, and providing public training and educational and networking events. You can find us online at communitydiversitygroup.com.